I'm putting all my eggs into that.
Are we doing a countdown
I think
timer?
we should, but I don't know how we want to do it.
Okay.
I mean, 15 seconds apiece. Like, there's 4 of us.
Let's give it a shot. I mean, we'll sit and talk about it for sure.
Is everything running and we're just ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
We are correct.
Cool.
I'm just going to bring up the clock.
Yeah, take your time.
Who wants to do the intro for this episode? The final Into the Fey.
Nope.
Sure, I'll do it. Great.
You're the MC, man.
I'm the face. I'm the
MC
face of the
Jaastien.
party. Hey everybody, welcome to Talking Fey. We are PeakD&D. All 4 of us are on this one, and this is where we talk about the last 2 episodes of our playthrough of Luke Hart and his module from the DM Lair Into the Fey. You can check it out in the doobly-doo down there if you want to get this module for your group. We have had a absolute blast playing it. Thanks for joining us today for some Talking Fey. Fey Watch. Max refuses.
Are we all doing it? Oh, yeah.
Everyone was doing it.
He's gonna not.
I was definitely
in slow
not.
motion.
We'll just cut the shot. We'll just cut Max out right here.
Welcome to my world.
We're off to a flying start.
Off to a great start. So this is end up being a little bit longer of an episode, but we're going to start with our traditional. We're going to recap this whole thing. We've not prepared this at all. 15 seconds on the clock each. I'll try to call it out, and we'll just pick it up where the last person left. We'll start with Max and move across.
Oh boy.
Here we go. 1
Okay.
minute. Go.
Centaur surprise! We're running down the hallway, and then Dad, evil cloud magic and illusions, and there's another, and the troll, and I sneak in the door, and the bear trap, and then you guys struggle, and he gets up on the front lines, and that's never a good situation. You throw the spear, and I'm like running to just like pew pew pew, peeking arrows.
That's my turn. And then, so is this really all the same episode? I feel like that was all
Last
happening.
2, man.
Right, because we finally got out of the dungeon. We were in this long hallway. That whole thing was happening.
You just recapped what I said. You just wasted your 50 seconds.
We
Next
jumped
turn.
out into the
Okay. Anyway, we went to the Feywild, and there were a whole bunch of Fey creatures watching like, oh boy, I can't wait for Lucy to mess you guys up. But then some other people came, and they helped, and that was neato. So you chased her. She's flying in through a forest on a broomstick, and you followed her to a big-ass tree.
We got some help from Daggy. Lizard folk helped us with one. We went up into a tree. We fought a kettle monster. We went upstairs, and then I stabbed her with a cold iron spear when Dumbbell showed up.
And Dumbbell became our friend. Yay! Super Dumbbell.
Dumbest bell.
How long have you guys been preparing the dumbbell? Like, as soon as she died, were you like, she's coming
Oh
back?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's you killed my favorite new monster from the module without letting it do any cool stuff. I'm definitely bringing it back so you can fight it later.
When a
Fight
level
larger
one, when a level
angry.
1/level 2 paladin just one shot. I understand.
So
Yeah, I think it was level 2.
Nick and I had the idea that Dumbbell should come back bigger and badder. I just basically reprinted the model at like 200%. So it was a large creature instead of a medium, and it had a 2-inch base, and which made like the scale isn't quite the same. So this thing was massive. If you watched the episode, which you all should have, if you're watching this right now. If not, stop right here and go back and watch it.
Even though she was
Almost a
bigger
large.
and better, a goat softened her heart.
Yes, the goat
Was the goat.
was goat. Yes.
Yes, goat was goat.
Goat
No.
was goat.
I mean,
My sensitive daughter.
Yes. She was so beautiful.
did you know, was it at the Lucy fight that she was going to come back? Did you
Yes.
have-
So I'm looking at this fight, and I see that Lucy's flying around this giant tree. She's got horrible gusts of wind and stuff that you can use to like throw you off the tree and make you take damage from falling. But she has like 1 or 2 tools to use against you if you just turtle up inside the tree trunk and take pot shots at her. So I thought, what does this fight need? This fight needs an incentive for you not to stay in the tree trunk. And that's where Dumbbell fit in beautifully.
Well, and like the fact that she was as big as she was, because I mean, I know when she popped up, like the first thing I did was look at that map and be like, no, she can't fit out those doors. Like, sweet. Like, peace.
Apparently, it turns out doors didn't really matter because she just like punched through a wall at one point.
In fairness, she was very angry.
In darkness.
Somebody infuriated her.
Yeah.
With lies.
Misdirection. Ha ha ha.
I can't believe she would do that.
Why would she kill the goat?
Right. No, Dumbbell pet the goat a little too hard. This was a very crazy idea that you guys had. And I rolled with it in a series of escalating ways. And you kept backing that up with good rolls and good ideas.
Not only that, but I mean, like, I know, like, the story the dice tell, right, is the best story. I know that's something that's been said around the table.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, I forget, I butchered the actual line, because I do that, but we have our bread and butter. Like, we've said it in Peaked Interest and stuff. It's all about yes-anding the story. So, like, I appreciate you, as the Dungeon Master, like, yes-anding what was happening in that scenario.
Just roll with what's happening. Figure out how you can still get to the cool things you want to get to with the circumstances that are just happening around you in the mad camp that is the average dungeon crawl.
When we started down this road of we're gonna play through Luke Hart's module, and I was like, well, it's 4 levels essentially. It's 1 to 5, right? Like 1 per level essentially.
Right, just about.
We could do like 16 episodes, right, guys? Like, we'll do that, and then we'll move on. Like, come summer, we'll be done.
Every time we guess how many episodes we're going to get out of this material, we're always wrong. We've never been correct about it.
We've never. We're going. Should we talk about this?
Sounds like you're about to.
I guess so. I mean, spoilers. I guess. So we are going to continue the adventures of Jaastien, Illinsworth, and Ghourd, sort of out of Aeredale and on to a next thing. So we're going off book, where this is now completely coming out of Nick's mind.
God help us all.
God help us all. And then that'll start us down the road of an ever-growing story that you'll see on PeakD&D developing over the next coming months and years.
To that point, if anyone has a good suggestion of what we should call this epilogue of Into the Fey, throw it down in the comments below, because we're open to
After
it.
the Fey.
Please let us steal your ideas.
Yes, we will give you credit. It's not fully stealing.
Oh, yeah,
I like Beyond the Fey, and then we can get advertisements from Beyond Burger, and then I can eat free Beyond Burgers.
Yes.
for the rest of my life.
Beyond Burger the
And
Fey.
so we've discovered
Fey harder? I don't know.
a good Fey to die hard. Oh God.
A good Fey to die.
Live Fey or die hard.
So let's circle all the way back. Let's think back to where we began with these characters and this campaign, how far we've come. Like, what are your overall thoughts on your character's arc thus far? What do you hope to see in the future? And what are you most proud of for your character thus far?
Oh, you're looking at me. I can
I'm
feel
starting.
that. Yeah. Sweet. Okay, good. That's good to know. All right. So Illinsworth, where he came from to where he ended up. Obviously, Nick, and I know we touched on this in a Peak Interest, but I think it's awesome that, I was always hesitant to trust authority, and to have, like, for you to have made the one authority member, the one that I trust, to be the one that betrays us. Like, it was such a beautiful gut punch of a moment.
Chef's kiss.
Proudest moment. I don't know, that Ethel fight was pretty solid. I liked how I held my own there, and even against the troll, like, I'm very proud of Illinsworth. I feel like I contributed a significant amount of damage in my sneak attack way to our efforts, which is important when there's only 3 people. Like, you gotta carry our weight. Oh man, in the future, I am gonna look forward to putting a dagger or an arrow in the back of your father, Jaastien. That's gonna be nice.
Tony, what do you think? How has Ghourd changed?
Good old country boy Ghourd, man. He came to Aeredale so naive and just on Helm's journey to try to protect the forest and try to protect this town. And then meeting you two, a playboy, if you will, that just kind of doles out money and lives laissez-faire, and then someone who does not trust nearly anybody. I partner with these two, and I learned a lot from the city. I learned a lot from our adventures of things don't just come plain sight. You can't run towards dead bodies.
I was just about
to say
that. I was just thinking about that.
And think you can heal them, because then you set off traps. You can't just blatantly trust authority, which Illinsworth showed him. So just getting out of that naivety of the country and how Helm is good and Helm will always protect, which he did, but you still have to be on your toes and think a little bit for yourself, and not trust everybody, just trust the 2 companions that you're with. following Oberon, and Oberon has helped us a lot, and Oberon kind of had adjacent values as Helm in Ghourd's eyes, so he decided to also kind of follow him. Again, nuance, like Oberon is kind of prominent in this Fey realm, so maybe he's the one that's chosen me to some extent, and I need to do what is right by him, which I conversed with Helm and he was cool with it. One of my favorite moments was when we went into that cave and Illinsworth was like, wait, let's talk. And you were like gung-ho, ready to Eldritch Blast everybody to the face. Right. And I was like, wait a second, I've learned now that we need to talk first. So it's just funny seeing all of those lessons learned, but to an extreme, and then eventually, I think toward the end, found a nice middle ground and learn from it. For going forward, I think at least initially, I think we've already kind of hinted at this amongst ourselves, but I think since, what's his face? Who was the cleric from
Kantar.
Since he was unceremoniously left at our feet, I think that was his Ghourd's first mission was to get the Temple of Tyr back to working order, whether that's a temple of Helm, whether that's a temple to Oberon, maybe just he keeps it Tyr and finds new priests, but that was kind of his probably first mission before he leaves Aeredale.
And I guess just for Jaastien, my favorite, I guess the biggest character arc for him was he learned to not be selfish, which was sort of an easier, I guess maybe an easier grab than like learning the difference between being a blunt instrument and following blindly and learning that there's nuance in the world. But like, he had never seen anybody, no one ever cared for him, so he didn't know how to care for other people, I think was sort of what I took away from that. And then he meets Ghourd and Illinsworth, and they all, like, literally in life and death situations look out for him and help keep him alive.
Every
and so
boss
he's
fight.
like, well, wow, that's crazy. Like, because you could have easily just, and what he was expecting was to be left for dead in the sewers when he went down there. Like,
how many times would you have bled out on flagstones if it weren't for your veins?
I think at least 3.
So many. And looking at like our first battle when I was, hanging back and those mutants were popping out of the water, and I'm just like, well, I got to get past these dudes. Here's some beef jerky, dogs. And it incidentally made it easier for us all as a group, but I was not certainly, like, Jaastien was only trying to get himself through. But in that last fight, like, even though, like, the fog cloud was a terrible idea, but I was trying to conceal Illinsworth because I know he likes to hide. So obviously, if I can...
Consent is important.
Right.
Talk to your rogue. Make sure they want your help to hide.
There's more room for Jaastien to grow, I think, is what we're saying. He's on the way. He's only 5th level, guys. I mean, come on.
I'm curious, because, like, we all got to answer that question, but you,
Yes.
yeah.
I have learned nothing and changed nothing. No, it's really interesting because for all my pontifications, I haven't actually DM'd all that much 5e, and this module was really, really fun to run. It had enough like of a skeletal structure to where I knew what was going to happen on any given night roughly. But there were also places where I could kind of flesh things out a little bit. Places that sparked my imagination and let me bring more of myself into this module. And I think that was ultimately to the benefit of everybody. Mm-hmm. So I had a blast with it. And, DMing this module has taught me a little more about how to DM for you munchkins. And, next time, 2 dumbbells.
Always have one in the back pocket.
It just for a sense of a teaser for what's about to happen. What was there a nugget or kernel in Into the Fey that you are now extrapolating into the epilogue? And if so, what was it?
All right, so some things in Into the Fey that I think we want to pay off. First of all, the Queen Below, the actual Archfey antagonist behind everything. We got a map of the Feywild, and we know where she's hanging out, but we don't really go there in this adventure, and rightfully so. You're level 5; she'd murder you all. It creates this it creates space for something interesting to happen.
Yeah.
It creates a potential antagonist with a grudge against you who can make your lives difficult. It also carries on some allies that you've made, because you did befriend the Satyrs of Dagi. You did befriend the random encounter lizard folk, and
random encounter.
Yeah.
Interesting nugget there.
Oh yeah, that was hey, you fight some lizard folk, and I'm like, well, what if you don't? There's so much you can do if you just look at what people are responding to and just work with them on that.
So final thoughts, Into the Fey. Like, what was your experience like as a player, as a DM?
As a player, and like I'm not big on spoilers, so I never looked at any of the source material. Like I was always, like in my mind, I was always just like, was that Luke's or was that Nick's? Or like to try to like parse out like who did what and what came from where.
It's both. It can't be separated. The unique
Fair.
experience of having Nick Hale DM a module by Luke Hart is what we have shared on this journey, and it's irreplicable. What I can say for that module is that it provokes your imagination, it provokes your creativity, it creates interesting spaces for things to happen. All of the NPCs have a secret. I love that. That is what my experience has been with the module, and I think that you will, if you purchase this, check out the link, you will have your own irreplicable experience with this module, and you'll have a blast with it.
So I will say two points, and then I will pass the mic. One, like the fact that you were talking about the 7 moment with the heads in the boxes, that like that was essentially written in to like take NPCs that the players care about and kill them off to get them to the final dungeon. Like that, Luke, good on you, man. That is good.
Diabolical.
Thing
Solid
to have in there.
storytelling.
And to leave it open.
And
like, kill 3. Don't
right.
kill
These
some,
3.
Yeah,
right, because
don't
like
kill these 3.
who knows who those relationships are going to be with, and the fact that we got to go to LairCon and got to play the Pigeon Paradox with Luke was also, I would like tangentially tie that into my favorite moment of having gone Into the Fey.
Right.
Which comes out this Saturday.
Yeah, it comes out this week on our channel. Instead of gameplay, while we're in between this leg of finishing up Into the Fey, this leg of the campaign, and then moving into whatever we decide to call the next thing. Well, I think that's as good a place as any. Thank you guys for joining us on this journey. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more to come from our friends here at PeakD&D. It has been our pleasure, our honor, and our privilege, Luke, to play through this module. Thank you so much for helping us get started in this crazy D&D world. And that goes to the entire team at the DM Lair, Sonny and Ed and Zach and Tactical Tokens and Dave over there. And I'm probably forgetting everyone.
Jared.
Don't
There's
forget
so
about
many people.
person we missed.
Everybody who is at LairCon, thank you guys for going there. And at least even having an inkling of who we were was meant more than you will ever know for that. So we look forward to continuing this journey. This is going to be the last Talking Fey regarding Into the Fey, the module. If you want to keep going with these characters and our journey, both on the table and off, please stick around. We have a lot more planned for the channel. Like and subscribe, do all the YouTube things. We're gonna be back next time with maybe a new form of what this might be, review type show, but check out the gameplay, check out all the other videos on the channel. We are PeakD&D, and we will see you at the peak.